What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. On the good news front, I am starting to feel better. On the bad news front, I continue to fall further and further behind on content because I was delayed a day or so, actually 2 days, from recording national recap stuff. Now we're getting a big inflow of news stuff. Means my national recap stuff keeps getting pushed back because of news. Originally this morning, I was going to post my national pickups video and tomorrow post my national recap video. That's probably going to be Friday and Saturday now because shout out to Bench Clear Media, Ty and Mike, who I do not know. I don't believe I've ever met them. Were first to this, posted late last night. Fanatics / Tops, more so Tops, but Fanatics has cut distribution with GTS effective the end of the year. Now, for people that don't really understand what that means, and I would highly encourage you to go check out the video that Bench Clear posted last night. I will link to that in the description down below, and they seem to have this fairly well sourced. Ty said he has multiple sources on both sides of the fence on this, so seems pretty legit and also checks out. It's not surprising that this has happened. This is something that I've personally been speculating about since the very beginning when Fanatics announced that it was basically taking over everything, is that these middlemen will be, for the most part, cut out of the pie because that's where Fanatics can pick up a ton of profit. For those not in the weeds on the inner workings of the sports card industry, what is GTS, you may ask? They are the largest distributor, I believe, of cards, period, full stop, period. And we're Topps' biggest distributor as well. So essentially what would happen is Topps makes the cards, sends them to GTS. GTS then ships them off to hobby shops, breakers, etc. They get to play middleman in all this. Now, from what I've been told, from what I have read, from what, Bench Clear and stuff said, and I've heard this other places as well, is GTS was one of the ones that liked to play games, shall we say, of selling 10% of the product to the end user, in this case, hobby shops, breakers, etc., at MSRP, holding product back, and then selling more closer to whatever the street value was, essentially, later on in the cycle. That obviously frustrated people quite a bit. Now, GTS is the only one that's been officially cut at this point. We'll see if that filters down. Maybe this is eventually coming to all of them. Maybe they were targeted specifically because they were notorious for that business practice based off what is filtering around the internet. Once again, none of this should be surprising. When Fanatics first took over, this is what a lot of people were speculating on. Why would Fanatics sell a box to the distributor for $100, and the distributor then sell it to the card shop / breaker for $200, then $300, $400, $500 in GTS's case, when Fanatics can just go straight to the card shop / breaker and say, here you go, $175, here's your boxes order, here's your allocation, here's X amount, whatever it is, however they sort it all out, and they just send it straight to them, and then they make an extra, 75%, 100%, whatever it ends up being, and cut out that middleman. That was the first thing when, I have to imagine, one of the big draws when Fanatics came into this space, and they looked at this entire model, and they're like, look at all the money these idiots are leaving on the table, and probably ran some numbers, and we're like, we can immediately up profit margins on this stuff by a massive percentage just by cutting these people out. Why? Because Fanatics has a massive distribution network already in place because they're Fanatics. So they already have this whole system set up, ready to rock and roll, where they don't need this distribution. Now, because Carlos did a video on this last night, he speculated that maybe they still use distribution in some cases. For example, Topps flagship is in like gas stations everywhere. That stuff shows up everywhere. Maybe Fanatics doesn't want to deal with it at that level, so they still keep some distributors for stuff like that or select product. But I have to imagine high-end Topps product is probably not going to go through distribution channels quite as much. Non-retail product, basically. Like, I don't see Topps Definitive, Topps Dynasty, maybe even Topps Chrome, who knows, going through the standard distribution networks going forward. Now, this goes hand in hand, which I was going to make a video on this. I'm just going to wrap it into this one. I know Dustin did a video on this already, and they talked about it on Off-Centered last night. The big thing going around the National was Fanatics was signing breakers to exclusive deals. Now, you put that news hand in hand with this news, and you start to see where all this is headed. Fanatics locking up breakers is the other piece of this. One, it eliminates the distribution model. Those breakers will buy product direct from Fanatics, would be my guess. The other thing is those breakers are exclusive to Fanatics products. So that means if I'm Breaker Neo over here, I can only break, the way I understand it anyways, I haven't read the fine details and it hasn't come out yet, I am only breaking Fanatics branded products. So at this point, Topps and Zero Cool, really. Obviously, that's going to open up to more areas once football, basketball, and the other stuff comes online. But what does that mean for someone like, one, Panini in its present case? This is Fanatics putting its foot on their throat and beginning to choke out these other outlets, because breakers are reading the room. Hobby shops are reading the room. They know Fanatics is coming. It's only a matter of time. So they are lining up, most likely, to get these deals done and in place to protect themselves going forward in the future. So if a breaker has to take a small hit for a year and not have basketball and football product to break, but lock themselves in the Fanatics, they're going to do that. The short-term hit will be well worth it in the long term. Maybe someone that plans an early exit strategy is just going to say, we'll just ride it out, get the profit while we can, move on. But this is going to put downward pressure on breakers to jump on the Fanatics bandwagon, which then means it's going to be restrictive on who's breaking Panini product. The other interesting aspect of this is Upper Deck still exists. They still have hockey. They still have Marvel. They still have a handful of other product categories, golf. If all these breakers sign on for exclusive access to Fanatics products, and there are rules and regulations in place that you're not allowed to break product from other distributors, or other companies rather, what happens to somewhere like Upper Deck? Not that like hockey breaking is the biggest thing in the world, but I'm sure it still exists. And I'm sure there's probably some breakers that have a pretty good niche clawed out in a product like that. Now, if all of a sudden, if you sign up with Fanatics, the new overlord of all things trading cards, and that excludes you from breaking Upper Deck product, what does that mean for Upper Deck? So that's an interesting angle to all of this too. Long story short, this is Fanatics power playing everybody. Breakers, LCSs, distributors, other companies. They are now, you could see now we are 8-9 months in to Fanatics really coming to the marketplace in regard, or coming into the industry rather. And they are really starting to swing their stick around. Is this good or bad? I don't know. There's going to be some good that probably comes with the bad. Fanatics having basically full control over everything, is that great? I don't really know. It could go really wrong. It could be okay-ish. Maybe it's going to be great. I don't know. The one thing I do know is the old system had a ton of flaws to it and a lot of holes in it and caused a lot of frustration for everybody. The old system 100% needed revamped and reworking. When I talk about the whole system, I'm talking from the top down. From the time the boxes leave Topps's and Panini's warehouses until they get in the end user's hands was basically like a season of The Sopranos. There were so many people with hands in the cookie jar all getting their 5% or whatever it was that it drastically increased the prices to the end user. Now, maybe Fanatics builds all that in and that's how they get all their profit back. It very well could be. But I know a lot of LCSs were very frustrated with the distribution channels because a lot of it was the good old boy network. Who you know, who you were friends with, who you took out to dinner a bunch. That part, I don't know that Fanatics is going to work like that. I think Fanatics is going to say, how can you help us sell the most product? We don't care that you took us out to a nice dinner at the National every year or whatever. I don't think they're going to care about that. I think they're going to look and say, cool, what's your sell-through rate? What do your demographics look like? How much product can you move? What kind of social media presence do you have? How do you help promote the hobby? They are going to look at stuff like that, and they are going to look to reward people that are doing things like that. Card shops like Card Collector 2, Santiago Sports, 101, Indie Card Exchange, these newer modern shops that have big social media followings, have a content side, those are going to be places that are going to get rewarded. Your local LCS that is still book pricing things that has been around for 50 some years, as cool as that is, I don't know that Fanatics is going to want to work with places like that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm pure speculation mode here. But you can kind of see the direction that they're going. They are going to want to partner with people that help promote it. And they may partner with, as we've already seen on the breaking side, they're going to team up and partner with people a lot of us don't like. They've already, Luber went on with Backyard Breaks. I have a feeling a lot of people are not the biggest fans of Backyard Breaks. They have a massive following. They also have a massive amount of people that strongly dislike them. It is what it is. They sell through a lot of product. That's what Fanatics is going to care about. So very interesting times ahead. A lot of crazy stuff probably still coming down. There's going to be a lot more fallout probably from the National. And we are still all waiting for the big shoe to drop of what happens with Fanatics and Panini. That's all I have for you guys and girls today. Either tomorrow or Friday will be my National Pickups video. And then whatever's not the Friday or Saturday, the opposite day, will be my full National recap. The National Pickups video is already recorded. The National recap is not. I may try to record that later today, get that out tomorrow, and do the recap video on Friday or Saturday. Assuming nothing else happens. Who knows what's next? That's all I have for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.